Well, typically in the midterms, the party in power is not expected to do good in the midterm elections. And that may be the case for Republicans in the 2026 House elections. But that is absolutely not the case in the 2026 Senate election. This is an election right now where Republicans hold 53 seats in the Senate, Democrats hold 47. And it could not be further from the truth that Republicans could lose the Senate. And today we're going to be talking about why Democrats have absolutely no chance, zero chance, zilch, nada. They have no chance to win the Senate in 2026. And it's pretty simple. It's very simple. It's simply just a math problem that they have here. So right now, this is what the map looks like. Republicans, out of the competitive races, you have Maine, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, and Minnesota. Those are considered the competitive states for the Senate race in 2026. Now, obviously, some people might want to throw in Nebraska in there. Some people might want to throw in Ohio in there. I'm just not there. That's not where I'm at. Some people may even throw Texas in there. Obviously, we're going to have to see what happens between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Obviously, we know 2018, Ted Cruz only won by 2.5 percentage points. Remember that. Tight election. Cruz only won 2.5, let's find it. 2.6 percentage points against Beto O'Rourke. Don't mess around with that, Republicans. Don't mess around with it. But ultimately, in these competitive races here, Democrats are left defending really 4 competitive seats while Republicans are defending 2 competitive seats. And Maine, to me, it is competitive just by nature because Kamala Harris won it in 2024. But it's not really a competitive seat. In my mind, that's just me. It's not a competitive seat. Because even if Democrats pick up North Carolina, they hold Georgia, they hold Michigan, they hold Minnesota, they hold New Hampshire, and they win Maine, they're only at 49 seats. They're still at 49 seats. Even if in this mystical world that somehow exists out there, this totally detached from reality world, Democrats, someone like a Sherrod Brown, is able to beat John Husted in Ohio. Democrats are only at 50 seats. You still have J.D. Vance. He's the tiebreaker. Republicans still will hold the Senate. Yes, is it technically a even Senate here? Yes, it is. But J.D. Vance will be a tiebreaker. Don't get me wrong. He will be a tiebreaker. And ultimately, for those reasons, I believe that Democrats have almost no chance to win the Senate in 2026. We're going to go by state right now and explain. Starting really with the most vulnerable senator going into this election. I think that's a safe assessment to say, which is going to be Jon Ossoff. Jon Ossoff won back in 2021 in a runoff election against David Perdue. Initially, he had lost the popular vote to David Perdue, but because neither candidate hit that 50% threshold, went to a runoff, David Perdue ended up losing that race. Jon Ossoff became the senator from the state of Georgia. Now, in 2026, this will be his first re-election, and it's going to be tough. He is seen as the most vulnerable Democrat going into the seat. Now, did Republicans get some bad news here? Brian Kemp is not running for running for this election. He's not going to run in the Senate. He's a very, very popular governor. We've talked about this many, many times on this channel. At the same time, when Raphael Warnock won by 3 percentage points in 2022, Brian Kemp won by almost 8 percentage points in Georgia. Almost a 10-point spread that you're looking at here. A 10-point spread between the top of the ticket in this election and the next clink down. That is a massive discrepancy in an era where split ticket voting just, I hate to say it, but it really doesn't exist anymore. Like, there's only a few states where split ticket voting truly happens. I think you could say Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. I think that's a fair assessment. I think Kansas, in one election with the governor, they had a split ticket. But like, where else? Like, maybe there's a couple instances here or there. You could say in Ohio, ultimately on the Senate side, you had Sherrod Brown. You could see Montana with John Tester. You can absolutely, but that's not the reality anymore. They lost in 2024. They did not win their re-election. So when you're looking at this race here, even without Brian Kemp in here, and great news, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not running. we knew if Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to run, she would most likely get the nomination, unless Trump stepped in and really put his foot down and said, yep, hell no, that's not happening. But you look at the data, Brian Kemp led Jon Ossoff in every poll. Jon Ossoff annihilated Marjorie Taylor Greene in every poll here. So that's ultimately, bad news, Brian Kemp's not in. Good news, Marjorie Taylor Greene's not in. But ultimately, you can see Jon Ossoff against a generic Republican. You're looking at really a pretty tight race here. And in the same race here, something real interesting was that in the same race, 44-44, when the people who were being polled were told that Jon Ossoff voted against a ban on transgender mentally ill men in women's sports, the margin increased like 5 or 6 percentage points for the generic Republican. So something to keep in mind that Republicans could really hit on in the 2026 election. So ultimately, it's hard to say. Like, Georgia is a toss-up state as of right now. You want to talk about North Carolina. North Carolina, very interesting state. You have Tom Tillis, who, frankly, has been a milk toast, I think that's the best way to put it, senator. Look, I'm okay with Republicans who break with the party, but it really comes down to when they break with the party. There are certain places where you need to break with Trump in the party. But Tom Tillis breaks with the party at the absolute worst places. He broke with the party on immigration in 2024. Said that we needed legislation. No, Tom, we didn't need legislation. We needed a new damn president. Don't lie to us. Don't lie to us. Don't play that BS with us. But even though in 2020 when he ran, and basically he was losing every single poll, look at this. There was 8 polls in total throughout the entire election cycle that showed that he was going to win. Every other poll had his opponent winning, and he still won by 100,000 votes. So ultimately, I genuinely have a hard time seeing North Carolina unless Roy Cooper, the former governor, jumps in this race, which as of right now, he hasn't. He hasn't jumped in this race. Currently, the only person that's in this race as of right now is Wiley Nickel. Obviously, he's a former representative from North Carolina's 13th congressional district. If Roy Cooper jumps in this race, I think this could definitely be a toss-up, if not I might even put this as a tilt Democrat seat. But still, we don't know what's going to happen here. There's still a lot to play out here. You jump over to Michigan, a lot that's going to play out. You have on the Democrat side, Mallory McMarrow. You have Haley Stevens, who's running. You have Mike Rogers, who's running for the Republicans. Obviously, Republicans are going to pour a ton of money into Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Maine. Huge opportunities. Now, similar thing happened in New Hampshire. Chris Sununu, very popular governor. Same thing with Georgia. Very popular governor decides he's not going to run for the governor's mansion. Initially said he wasn't going to run. Then Shaheen retired or said she was going to retire. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to think about it again. And then kind of gave the GOP the big middle finger and said, yeah, nope, not for me. Not going to work out. But then you look at Maine. Maine's a very interesting state. This is a state that has voted for Democrats every year since 1992, but has elected Susan Collins by massive margins. Look at this. 8.6 was her smallest margin since she was elected. 2014, she wins by 37 points. 2008, when the massive blue wave that swept the nation. In the same year that Barack Obama won Indiana, won Ohio, won Iowa. Susan Collins in Maine, in Obama won the state by 20 points. Susan Collins won by 22 points. A 42% swing between Obama and Susan Collins. Go back even further. Collins won 16 points. You go back to her initial election in 96, she won by 5 points. 5 points here. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a close race. I think it's going to be within 5 to 10 percentage points, but I believe that the Republicans will still win. Susan Collins is very strategic at breaking with the Republican Party when it matters. She knows when she has to break with the Republican Party, even if it alienates and pisses everyone else off. She knows when she has to break, and that's why people vote for her, because she is not a hardline Republican. She breaks with the party when, she is Maine first. She is not Republican Party. She is Maine first. Are these policies, are these initiatives going to help the state of Maine? Yes. Is she a more establishment figure? Absolutely. But what's the alternative? Having a Democrat that votes with the Republican Party 1, maybe 2% of the time if we're lucky? Like, is that really a winning strategy to put a MAGA candidate in there who's going to get annihilated? Yeah, that great move. Great move. But so even, like, if we're being realistic, like, this is genuinely how, if I had to put my nose on it right now, just based on who's running and who's not running, I would have to say this is where it is. North Carolina's won by a point. Georgia's won by a point. Democrats hold on to Michigan. Democrats hold on to Minnesota. Democrats hold on to New Hampshire. Republicans hold on to Maine. Where does that leave us? A bigger majority than Republicans had in 2024. This will fend off any Trump impeachment that the Democrats are going to try and go after Trump as soon as if they get control of the House. They're going to go after Trump like there's no tomorrow. They're going to spend millions of dollars trying to put Trump in jail, trying to impeach him, yada, yada, yada. The Senate is where that will go to die. That is where Trump impeachments go to die. Because ultimately, you expanded this margin of victory here, which, look, do I think that in a not so far off world, you could be right here? I think so. But I don't think it's the most probable situation as of right now. But at the end of the day, this still leaves us in the same exact spot. Democrats not winning the Senate in 2026. They have no chance. They do not have a chance. What are you're going to win in Ohio? Here, you're going to win in Iowa. You're going to win in Nebraska. You're going to win in Montana. Alaska. Like where, genuinely, where are you going to win to get to 51 seats? You win all these states here, or all these seats, I should say. You win here. Okay, you're at 49. Okay, Ohio. What? Where are you gonna go? Like honestly. What? Yeah, you think you're gonna win in Texas? Like, ultimately, I don't think it's gonna happen in Texas. Like, yes, did I bring up the point simply that Ted Cruz only won this election by 2.5 percentage points? But ultimately, Texas has become a lot more conservative. The Hispanic population has become a lot more conservative. Just look at this. Look down here. Look at all these border counties down here. Look at this now. Look how red this is. And it's not like some of these are smaller swings, but look at this. Some of these Trump's winning by 16 points, almost 10 points, 2 points. You're seeing massive victories. Just when a couple years ago, these were massive victories for the Democrats. Look at this. Trump's winning by almost 20 points. These are border towns. Trump's immigration policies work. They work. It simply is as simple. So what, the blue Texas, you think the blue Texas dream is alive? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, it may be close, but I don't think you're going to win it. But so that's going to wrap things up for today, folks. And I'm going to try and get a clear message out there for more people. My channel, I am definitely a center-right. I have center-right policies at the end of the day. But I'm a common sense conservative. I'm a common sense right-leaning individual. I am not here to be 100% with Trump or 100% against Trump. 100% with the Republicans, 100% against the... Like, that's just not who I am. I don't look at things in those terms. I am here to look at the facts and give you the facts. What are the facts of the situation going into it? We're here to not just completely ride on what Trump wants or what he doesn't want. We're here to get, like... You can go and listen to... I have so many videos where we have gone against what the Trump administration wants. Because there's so many people in the comments, oh, you're just a MAGA supporter. You're just, as someone who only gets their information from Fox News. Yeah. You know how funny it is when someone says that I only get my information from Fox News? I couldn't tell you the last time I even went on Fox News' website, listened to Fox News. Like, I'm not 60 years old. Like, I'm sorry. And I have a lot of older people who listen to my videos, and bless you. Like, I thank you so much for coming here. But I don't watch Fox News. I don't listen to the mainstream. Like, I listen to some mainstream media. I listen to CNN and MSNBC because that's where Democrat brainstorming, Democrat ideas, that's where they proliferate there. And so that's where you have to go to listen. But conservative ideas, that's not where I go. It simply isn't. I don't go to Fox News for those things. But it's kind of funny when they sit there, oh, you just listen to Fox News all the time. Yeah, shut up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. If that's what you really think, you don't know your head from your ass. Let's be honest. But if you're looking for someone who's going to look at things through a common sense lens, not a Republican lens, not a Democrat lens, not someone who's bought and paid for by a big media corporation or a billionaire or my sponsors, I don't change my opinions based on anything. My opinions are my opinions. I'm trying to look at things through a conservative but common sense, right-leaning perspective. That's where I come from. And if that's something you're looking for, the best way to support us, the best way to get us in front of more and more people is to A, hit the subscribe button down below, but also B, just to watch through our videos. That's what YouTube cares about. They care about when someone watches my video, what is your average view duration? The longer the average person watches my videos, the more it's going to get pushed out there. But you can also share my video. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Instagram. Share it on X. Send it to people through text message, through email, anything that you know. But then also hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. Show us that you're engaged with our content. That would really, really be something that I appreciate if you could do that for us. But as always, this is going to wrap things up for today. I appreciate any of the support that we get from you guys. And as always, don't forget, drop down below, hit that subscribe button. And folks, we will catch you next time.